Hello and welcome to the UIM E1 World Championship presented by PIF. We're in Italy for round 4 of the all-electric powerboat racing series, with 9 teams renewing their rivalries at the E1 Lago Maggiore GP 2025. It's the first freshwater race of the season, so who will that favour? With Steve Aoki's racing team riding high after reclaiming the championship lead from Team Rafa in Dubrovnik. But Rafa Nadal's pilots have the dragon in their sights, with the reigning champions Tom Brady's outfit moving stealthily up the table behind them. Now, some points have already been handed out here in the north of Italy for the qualifying races yesterday, so it reduces the championship lead a little bit there between Aoki Racing and Team Rafa, with the reigning champions third, Blue Rising and Westbrook completing your top 5. Then it's Alula, Drogba, Team Brazil and Team Miami completing your top 9. So this was where it all began for E1 at the end of 2023 with the development of these race birds, but this is the qualifying race action yesterday, and Brady were delighted there with Emma Kimelena to be coming through for 3 points and that all-important top spot. It's difficult to pass on this course as well. So Roddy Basso, the CEO of E1, presented the trophy to Tom Brady's team, with Sam Coleman there as well. They really have been brilliant when it comes to the teamwork so far this weekend, and they claim those all-important 3 championship points as we now move into the second half of the season. So much coming your way here today with the group stages. You can see who's gone through into the individual groups, all decided, as I say, by the qualifying time trials and then the qualifying races yesterday. Today's group stages, it's all about the order for stage 1 and stage 2, and then the finals later on today. And don't forget, the fastest lap of the day today as well will also claim an extra crucial E1 championship point.
Grand final. This will decide who takes home the trophies. And away we go, a good start from Team Blue Rising on the outside. They are going to collide, surely. Oh, the smart mark is hit. Penalty added to John Peters' time.
We had it, we smelt it, we didn't need it. So
it felt like a hell of a battle, so I don't know if anybody else saw it. We had a bit of a pants start.
Line holding there.
We've got a protest ongoing between Team Brady and Aoki Racing.
Aoki have a long lap penalty.
Aoki Racing have a long lap penalty.
That's not fair. It was a good lap, man. It was a good start.
I was so mad, I was so angry because from inside I was like right on the spot. Even I had a margin, so you know, when they told me at the end that I had a penalty, I couldn't believe it.
That means these last 2 laps now here for Danny Kloss for Aoki Racing, they will both be long laps.
Go along, you're racing Aoki for position.
Danny, keep pushing, he's also on the long lap.
I didn't know that he had to do the long lap.
Keep your eye on John Peters in 3rd from the outside.
we drove back up to 3rd, but we got time penalty, so we got dropped back down.
And he ends up in last spot. This is going to come down to the wire here. This is going to be such a tight finish to this race.
At the end it was like emotions, like calm, then super mad and angry, then focused again, and then it just...
Good job, Danny. We win.
Yeah! Let's do this! Chaos in Croatia. From the DJ booth to the Racebird cockpit, Steve Aoki's team does it in Dubrovnik.
Don't get too comfy up there.
Yes, the gloves definitely came off, didn't they, in Dubrovnik last time out. That sets things up absolutely beautifully now then for this 4th of 7 rounds this season in E1. 2025 has provided drama all the way through so far, and this is the course here then for Lago Maggiore. It is very difficult on which to pass, and we saw plenty of action yesterday. The boost, as always, is absolutely critical. Greg Haynes and Saunders CB are with you. Saunders, it's absolutely brilliant, isn't it, what we've seen so far, and I'm sure we're going to see the championship lead. My prediction, could be wrong, is that it's going to close over here today.
Yeah, potentially a big weekend for the championship, big race day for the championship. Lots of action ahead. As we know, Greg, in these races, it is bout to bout. It's action from start to finish. We love to see it. There's Timmy Hansen on board now, getting ready for the battle ahead. This first battle being to set the order for the next group stage, but all important because as these pilots swap throughout the day, every single lap counts, and of course the position means a lot for the next stage.
Yes, they're in the milling area now. We're on board with John Peters. He'll be celebrating his birthday, incidentally, on Monday. So an early happy birthday to you, John. This is where the tension really starts to rise, and they're just in that milling area before they get ready to go. And the timing for the starts of these races is absolutely critical. Just under 4 minutes to go then. Emma Kimmerlane, and we're on board with Team Brady. We saw the delight just before with her teammate Sam Coleman yesterday. They are on the pole position, as it were. Lane 1, there are your lanes, as you can see appearing there on the graphics. Here is Katie Munnings, Team Alula, championed by LeBron James. They had some trouble yesterday, but that's all in the past now. This is where the big points will be available later on this afternoon. So Lago Maggiore with the beautiful Alps there in the background. This is the second largest lake in Italy after only Lake Garda and ahead of Lake Como. And we were actually racing at Lake Como as well last season, and we also saw a brilliant drag race, didn't we, between Rafa Nadal and Will Smith, two of the legendary team owners here in E1. You can see that on the E1 YouTube page. Everyone ready now, just what, 3 minutes to go as we get ready for this first group race of the day. So Brady have that all-important inside line from Brazil. Then it's Alula and Team Blue Rising. You can pass here, but if you've got that inside line coming out of turn 1, it is all important, to put it very mildly indeed. So for Team Blue Rising, John Peters here, 19 UIM and national titles to his name. And would you believe this? No less than 64 speed records. He'll be looking for some of that speed here today, won't he? So they're on at lane 4, and it's Team Alula on lane 3. And this is Katie Munnings. She's raced in Extreme E and now here in E1. And the ladies' European Rally Champion at the age of 18. Moving closer then to that all-important inside line, and this is Team Brazil with Tammy Hansen bouncing back from a gearbox problem. Likes to play his chess. Well, this is a high-speed game of chess. Let's see what he can do coming out of that first corner on the boost. And Emma Kimmerlane then from Finland for Team Brady, the reigning champions. Can they search for their first win of the season later on here today? A winner is Emma in the W Series sports cars and Formula 4, now looking to carry that success into the world of E1. And here then, Saunders, is the course, and this is what they need to navigate.
Yeah, it's the first freshwater course of the season. Very different conditions and challenges that brings with it. Top speed, acceleration, balance differences. It's pretty much full throttle throughout the whole lap. Up on the foils during the straight, and then lowering the race bird, gliding around those turns as smoothly as possible. As you've mentioned, Greg, race starts play an absolutely critical role here. Judging that timing to cross the line at the green flag at the highest speed possible. Easier to get wrong. Very, very hard to master indeed.
40 seconds then until this race gets underway. We'll see the yellow flag on the marshal's boat. They need to wait for the green, but this is all about timing now, isn't it? To make sure they go and they don't have to slow down. They want to go at the right point to have as much acceleration as possible. Saunders onto the run to that first turn.
Yeah, it really is. It's an art to try and master this, because you want that maximum top speed going through the start line at the green flag, not before, because obviously then you've got to slow down and try and keep out of all of that weight caused by the other pilots ahead of you. And then again, that lane importance, also having that almost clean air into the first turn, very, very important. Let's do this.
Absolutely, this is to get the best position for their second group race later on today. There's the yellow flag. There's the line, and away we go then with Brady having the advantage, but they have to just back it off a little bit there, and everybody else is closing in, as you can see for yourself on the run down to the first turn. That's going to be close to contact there, and look, Blue Rising forced out wide on the outside.
Team Brady, a great start there, really held that line well. Now they're in the pole position now to try and maintain that clean water, not being caught up in all of the wake behind, which you can see the 3 boats behind also trying to avoid that. And this is a gap, look at that, Greg, the gap that Brady have already made for themselves.
Yeah, that is an absolutely excellent start, isn't it, for Emma Kimmelainen there. There's Blue Rising. John Peters, he was wide of that first corner, but now carrying the momentum up towards turn 2. He's on the outside. Brazil having a lot of movement there on the front as well. Now, one of these smart marks was hit yesterday by Team Rafa. Thankfully, that's not the case so far today. As we look back then from Team Blue Rising.
All different types of boosts being used at the moment. You see the top of the screen on the graphic. You can see some like to use it on the straights, some like to use it on the exits of the corners to make up that speed they've lost, going back down on the foil, getting up on the foil, being smooth and parallel with the water, nose to the horizon, exactly what they're trying to achieve here. Speed comes from balance, and balance equals performance, and performance is race wins, Greg.
John Peters then on the boost there, as you saw, coming down to that last corner, but Kimmelainen with a very healthy advantage of 3.7 seconds, as you can see at the top of the screen, and has taken the short lap. Brazil also taking the short lap, and there's John Peters with Team Blue Rising carrying on the, for now, standard lap. Remember, they have to do 1 long lap and 1 short lap. There are 3 variations through the course. They're not allowed to do them on the opening lap. They do need to do, though, 1 of those throughout the 6th lap. And then, of course, we have to see where they all are, don't we, when they merge together again later on.
That short lap being a gain of about 6.4 seconds, around about that. You take off about 160 metres off of the race lap distance. So it's all about trying to get the better of your competitors. And the way they do that is almost with an undercut-overcut situation. But crucially, they have a spotter on land watching out for where the other pilots are, trying to get that strategy perfect. And as we talk about that, we have our first use of the long lap also going in for Team Alula.
Yes, and you can see at the top of the screen on the graphics who's done their short lap, who's done their long lap. There's Brady then with that healthy advantage now, of course, having done the short lap. This is a little bit, Saunders, like Danny Kloss did in one of the races back at Dubrovnik last time out, and just gives themselves some good space there up at the front. And there you go, that's exactly what you were saying, though. That's the average time you will gain by doing the short lap and lose by doing the long lap.
That long lap adding about 10 seconds to your lap time. So if you are in an advantageous position, if you are in the lead, you want to make sure you've got that 10-second buffer before taking that long lap. And that's where it gets interesting, on that rejoin, when the long lap comes back into the normal lap, trying to avoid the competitors.
Okay, we look down then from the drone. Your order at the moment is Brady, Brazil, Blue Rising and Alula. Alula, who stopped out on the course yesterday after having the contact with one of the smart marks. You can see the green smart marks there, and that is the long lap area. So there you go, with Brazil navigating the long lap area. The graphics will update as a result. At the moment, it looks spread out, Saunders, but it's not, is it? Because they're all going to be much closer together soon when they're in the merge zone, when everyone rejoins after those longer or shorter laps. We look down now.
Emma Kimmelainen about 20 seconds odd in the lead at the moment, but you have to remember 10 seconds of that will be lost when they use their long lap.
There's Brazil. This is the result predictor then, based on where they are at the moment and taking into consideration which of the long and short laps they have done. So look, Alula at the moment are being predicted to move ahead. I think this is going to be close, don't you?
Well, this is based on them not having done either of their long lap or short lap yet. So they're hoping that strategy has paid off, leaving them later on, leave till later on in the race. Maybe the idea of trying to get the best of that strategy, try and maximise that potential clean water as Brady go into their long lap.
Yes, they do indeed. So we'll have to see where they are in relation to Alula, won't we, at the end of this. Brady then doing that long lap. The good thing is, though, there's nobody around them having pulled out that nice lead, including the short lap there for Emma earlier on in the proceedings.
I think this is all pretty much wrapped up now, unless there's any change that comes from Emma Kimmelainen and that Team Brady Racebird, because that lead with the long lap now still there. It's still 10 seconds gap. It really is now going to be a mistake that costs them the victory in this race.
On board, it's a much clearer view there from the onboard camera than it is, we can tell you, from the cockpit of the Racebirds. At some points, they're almost blind, aren't they? At this point, they're absolutely fine, and this is the good thing about not having anyone in front of you, and this is why we keep stressing how important qualifying position is, starting position is, and the tactics as well as to when you want to take your short lap. You know, we've seen people doing long laps early in races before, but then you end up dropping into all of the traffic with the wake and the spray from everybody else. Aluda then now doing their short
this could
lap
be
look.
tight coming back on the rejoin, Greg.
Yeah,
Team
Team
Brazil.
there. They've got away with it. They have got away with it. Blue Rising haven't taken one on this occasion. So although John Peters in 4th place at the moment is some way further back, remember he was up there in 2nd place earlier on in the race. So he's going to be close to them as well once his short lap has been completed.
You think in either this lap or the next one, Team Alula needs to start thinking about doing that long lap because they're currently just sitting in the wake of Team Brazil. Actually, Katie Munning's former teammate in E1 and Extreme E for that matter. And that's not where you want to be because you're just getting caught up in all of that washed up water and it just impacts your performance. So maybe we'll see Katie Munnings in that Team Alula do their long lap in the next few laps.
Yeah, and that impacts them being able to use the boost as well, doesn't it? Because they don't always want to use the boost, or they can't make best use of the boost when they are in the wake of someone else as we move into the 6th now. And final lap, look at that advantage for Kim Alainen and Brady. That's a tremendous race so far.
Sam Coleman will be looking on in delight because, of course, this sets the grid for the next race, and that's one where you have the pilot swap. He'll be in the cockpit for that race, starting in that prime lane position.
And of course they've already had a look at the orders, haven't they, in terms of what they're going to be doing in terms of which pilot they want in the boat at each time, and that is set now for the day. They will keep alternating as the day goes on. There's Blue Rising. They still need to do their short lap, and they're doing it right now, look, as you can see for yourself, with those blue smart marks. So there's John Peters taking it, but to be honest, he's not as close to Alula as I thought he was going to be, having done that short lap. It all bunches up the field, but this is now the final lap of the race. Now let's see what happens with Alula doing the long lap. This is where it's going to be tight, and I don't know whether John Peters is actually going to get the undercut here and come out in front.
I think they've left it too late. I think it's going to be very tight coming in, and is John Peters going to sneak out in front of them, I think, and leave Alula in his wake there, just impacting that speed and performance and balance, and that's probably cost them a 3rd place finish here.
Over the line go Brady then to take victory in this first group stage race of the day here at Lago Maggiore. Brazil are second, bouncing back from the gearbox problem they had here on Friday. They'll be pleased with that. And like you say, look, John Peters has gone through. He's taken Alula, he's taken Katie Munnings, maybe just losing Saunders too much time then, as you said, in the wake earlier on. And Katie, unfortunately, crosses the line in 4th place. That was a perfect demonstration, wasn't it, of strategy there, and also the importance of track position.
Absolutely, but maybe surprising in terms of just overall pace from the likes of John Peters, someone with so many speed records. Maybe a setup issue there. We talk about that prop choice that they had to submit at the start of today. Ultimately, means the difference between acceleration versus top speed, and that has a difference on performance and speed here, and the differences that you can get from it.
On board with Team Brady and Emma, congratulations. The start in particular there and your tactics, that was brilliant. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. It feels really good to have the first win, but there's still many to go. So it's just one step towards the first step.
Well done, and good luck with the celebrations for now. And I stress for now because there's a lot more to come in the day. They'll be doing the debrief, won't they, as Emma makes her way back in. Of course, Sam Coleman, as you've already said, Saunders, will be up next.
I mean, as you say, it does just set the grid order or the lane order for the next race, but also there's added confidence that comes with that, knowing that you've got a good setup to tackle on these conditions today. I think it makes a big step in terms of the psychology side of sporting events like this.
On board then with Katie Munnings. Katie, talk us through that one. Were you just stuck in the wake there earlier on, lose a lot of time? Was it trickier to use the boost?
Hey guys, yeah, the boost's okay. It was just, in the wake. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if it's like moving on its own, but our trim was all over the place in the waves there, so it was pretty hard to manage to try and get good pace on the straights. We lost it on the start though, to be honest with you. It's so tight, you've got to be there on the start, and I was like, I think I was behind everyone at the start, so we need to have a look at that and see what we can adjust for next time in our numbers, but there's still a long day ahead.
Absolutely, hard luck, Katie, but like you say, long day ahead. Good luck with that. Katie, as always.
Yeah, putting it perfectly, just what we were talking about, and the importance of being in that clean water. It just costs you so much time, performance and stability ultimately going into all those turns, which is not having the control and the trim, not being up in the foil and the height you want it to. It just costs you really, it can be seconds every time you don't really master one of those turns, and being in that wake makes it harder and harder.
It's stressful up there, watch it.
I know.
This is the first time, of course, for the teams to start debriefing with one another, with more group stage races coming up, then the race-off, the finals, and the place race later on. Well, dramatic start to the day, and Taylor Schneider is down there for us in the launch zone.
Emma, what an incredible race out there. You guys obviously showed your speed with that win in qualifying as well, so you really pulled it off today. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, it's never easy, very competitive field, calm water, and it kind of makes the boat go even faster than normally, so it adds an extra challenge to keep it stable and nice, neutral. So but very fun, but there's still many to go. We've learned that. This doesn't mean absolutely anything.
Well, it does. Emma's put you in quite a good position. You now have the top spot for your race. All the eggs are in your basket now.
All the eggs are in my basket. Yeah, well, hang on, we don't count the chickens until they've hatched either. So if we're going to follow that analogy on, no, Emma's done an awesome job to put us in a position that we can try and capitalise on the next race. So
yeah, as well as Sam did yesterday for me. So we're doing it for each other as a team. So that's the whole name of the game.
It is Team Brady looking strong. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Emma Kymäläinen absolutely delighted before they now swap over. Sam Coleman there on your right-hand side. And no wonder they're smiling, because that puts them now in a good position, a great position, in fact, for their next group stage race later on today. And we've just seen there how important track position is. So here we go, Saunders. This is what we were saying at the time. First of all, Emma's timed it brilliantly when they get to the line. And yes, the others are closing in, but she's got track position.
Yeah, this is really where this race was won, you know, and as is often the case in E1, so much is down to that turn one. And then onto the entrance to that turn was so smooth. It carried so much speed through the turn, put them on great footing now for the rest of that lap. This was really the first potential where it could have changed. You know, this little battle going on between the two there, but it was Emma that got the better of the Team Blue Rising boat as they're going into that corner, and history was kind of sold at that point. It was Brady's to lose.
Look at the run that John Peters had on the left-hand side with Team Blue Rising. He'd gone out wide, hadn't he, at the first turn? Shot up the outside as they got to the far end of the course. Remember, no long or short laps are allowed on the opening lap, and that's why they're all sticking to the standard course. But he was deploying the boost absolutely beautifully, wasn't he, early doors there? But moments like this, they can easily lose you a second or two, and we saw that all across the qualifying time trials, in particular here, when we got underway on Friday.
The aim is always to try and sit nicely on those foils in the straights, and then you see the boat sort of dip down just before the turn, and that's how they kind of get the traction to then fast, fluidly go around the turn, get back on the foils as early as possible, and keep that smooth speed. But it's so easy for that not to work, and you can see that by the way they bounce up and down, in and out of the corners. So the ones that get the better of that and make that happen, it adds so much to their lap time and their speed.
Poetry in motion. It all looks so calm, doesn't it? But remember, the pilots are being thrown around. It's very, very hot in the cockpit as well. 70, even up to 80 degrees at points, and this is what we call the merge point. Look at the lack of visibility from the camera, so imagine what it's like from the cockpit. There's Brazil coming in from the right-hand side, and that's how close it is. And it's so easy, as I say, to lose 1 or 2 seconds. And, you know, it might sound a lot in car racing or bike racing. It's not much at all when you're on the water here with E1 and over the line. That is what that very, very handy gap looks like. And as Saunders has already said, that was really won off the start. And delight then for Kymäläinen. Yes, you know you have won that one, Emma. Already whooping on the radio, of course. There is two-way ship-to-shore communication here with teams and pilots. It can go both ways. They hit a button top left of the steering wheel there to activate the radio. So we'll head back down to the launch zone, and Taylor is down there with Timmy Hansen.
Down here with Timmy Hansen in the launch zone, and this is kind of a redemption for Team Brazil. You guys have had a little bit of a hard season. You almost have a chance to get in the finals so far. What's it going to take for your teammate out there?
Yeah, we desperately want to get into the finals. You know, I think we had a good run in Doha until I crashed into the buoy. And yeah,
Dubrovnik was tough on us. I mean, this season we haven't really, had the right flow. But the boat's good. We've got a new team principle here. Team is pushing really hard. Everybody wants this, more than anything. So the day started all right already, and just now handing over to Marit. I know she's also feeling confident. So yeah, I'm gonna cross my fingers for the next one.
Excellent. Thank you, Timmy.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's already very much thinking ahead, isn't he? As serious as you like there for Timmy. Ever the professional. There's the Alps in the background. Spectacular setting here at Lake Maggiore here in June. So Brady then with the advantage. Remember, they're the reigning champions if you're joining us here in E1 for the first time, but they're yet to win a GP this season. It's Brazil, Blue Rising and Alula completing the top 4. But there are 9 teams in total. So we'll have more group stage action coming your way shortly, and plenty still to come. Plenty still to go out onto the water for the first time today. The air temperature has been right up there in the high 20s, even into the low to mid 30s across the several days we've been here. Here's a confirmation of the current temperature then, just nudging now on 32 degrees Celsius, humidity 43%.
I mean, I always laugh at that kind of final graphic there, that challenge 6 out of 10, because, especially this next group race, we've got 5 boats going out there. It's really tight racing. There's only really one clean line, one clean bit of water, and all 5 boats trying to get it. So it's definitely seems like harder than 6 out of 10, although maybe that's just based on the weather.
Now, in terms of the strategy, Saunders, they've obviously discussed, as we said in the commentary during the race there, when they're hoping and planning to do their short lap and long lap. But that communication is absolutely pivotal, isn't it? And we did see a few radio problems for some of the squads earlier on in the weekend, because depending on, as we said, the wake and the weather and the place they're in on the track and who's around them, they will need to change that. So that communication with base is critical.
It is, absolutely, and that's where the role of the spotter comes in, and kind of lends itself to those pilots that have experience in championships that have that as a key characteristic. Rallycross being an example, Timmy Hansen, Casey Munnings, also with single-seater and four-wheel driving and stuff, track cars. That's the relationship with the team, and having that reliance on someone outside of the cockpit to tell you about timing, and that's where you see that short lap, long lap strategy really come into its own, that two-way connection and trust with the spotter and the pilot.
Let's just remind you as well that no points are actually being given out at the moment. 38 points will be given out for the overall GP win at the end of the day. But one thing we do need to remember is that the fastest lap today on this main race day does collect a bonus championship point. There are 42 points maximum available over a single weekend for the GP win, the fastest lap on the main race day, and of course the qualifying point as well. This is round 4 of E1 for 2025. It's Lago Maggiore. We come here off the back of 3 eventful affairs at Jeddah, Doha and Dubrovnik, and we still have 3 more rounds to go. We're a quarter of the way through the group stage races so far, and Taylor Schneider is down there in the launch zone.
Sarah Mazier from Team Blue Rising. You guys had an incredible weekend in Dubrovnik in the group race stages. That's where you found your first place into the final. What's it going to take to repeat that incredible performance?
Dubrovnik was a great group stage races that we had. It was the first time that we got straight through into the finals. So for this race, both John and I have a lot to dig and learning to do. So we just have to keep our head in the game, just run a clean race and just dig till we get to the finals.
Who do you think is your biggest competition out there?
Oh, that's a difficult question because all these pilots are so talented, and I definitely have some of the strongest competition in my race coming up. I have Sam Coleman, he's just been mega in the boat this weekend. So it's going to be an interesting race, but I'm excited for it. So we'll see how it goes.
Excellent. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you to Sarah as well, the Jamaican race car driver who's been competing in part of the Formula Women team for the McLaren Customer Racing squad, actually, in the British GT Cup Championship. From St Andrew in Jamaica, first represented Jamaica as a junior equestrian as well. So a real mix there, Saunders. I mean, that's cars, horses, boats.
That's what I love about E1.
Brilliant.
You've got absolutely exceptional talent from all walks of life and motorsport, not even motorsport, horsepower in a very different way there.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? And it's interesting as well that sometimes some of the more traditional, I'll call them, powerboat racers, some people sometimes argue they maybe have a slight disadvantage here because of the way these race birds work is very different, isn't it, with the trim in particular, with the way that is all set up. But we'll get back down there and hear the latest from the launching as we get ready for the next group stage.
Sarah Price, we're coming into race day. This is the time for it to all count. You showed some really fast times in practice, so it really is anybody's game today. What do you have planned?
Well, yeah, obviously we've had quite the season and a lot of heartbreaking, hard moments for our team. And so this is, we finally feel like our boat is back. And Lucas is absolutely flying. I feel like I need to do some homework now and get up to his speed. And now I'm out first for today. Lucas won yesterday. And I am starting in the middle, and we just need to have a good race to give him a good position to get to the final. That's everything here, just getting to the final. And it seems easy, but it's definitely not.
And when you get to the final, because I know that's where everybody wants to be, what is it like? Is it just no bars hold, everybody's on it?
100%, yeah. In the final, it's just send it in other words. But yeah, getting there is a huge relief once you can just finally get into the top 5 position to get there. So yeah, that's the goal, obviously, but you have to go through all these steps in order to acquire that. So it's just taking one race at a time at this point. But I'm really proud of our team. We've had a lot of big changes. As you guys know, Steve Curtis, he went to another team, and so I always am giving him crap about it, but we love Steve. But now we have some good people on our team, and it's really working out well, and I think it's showing.
Absolutely. Best of luck to Westbrook.
Thanks, Taylor. And these are live pictures now. That, of course, was just a few minutes ago before Sarah got comfortable there in the Westbrook Racing machine. Of course, this is the team owned by Will Smith himself. But again, another person with great experience, motocross, rallying, X Games, stadium super trucks, Extreme E, all sorts of experience for the 32-year-old from Riverside, California. Now, Saunders, we were just touching on the trim and how different that is from a conventional powerboat to one of these E1 race birds with the foils underneath made of carbon fibre. Completely different way to operate the trim and how the vessel works, isn't it, across the water?
It is, and it would be really easy to think that anyone with powerboat experience would suddenly just dominate in E1, but it's really not the case, because in reality, some of the things they have to do in terms of the way they control the nose of the race bird or the trim is completely opposite to what they've grown up and what they've won championships having to do. So they're learning something completely new, which breaks all the habits that they've built up, whereas the people like Sarah Price and others that have come from cars or other forms of motorsport or other sport, they're learning new, and they don't have those bad habits bringing in, or don't have to unteach themselves something or relearn. So it does make a big difference, and that's why you see people with previously no boating experience before E1 getting on the top step of the podium.
Incidentally, we had a very interesting chat with the lead mechanic, didn't we, from this team, Guy Barron, who's just down there right now, and he's got a bit of a background in TV, hasn't he? He's worked on Monty Python's Flying Circus and Benny Hill and all sorts of things. So he's also been around the world twice on a sailing boat as well.
Yeah, plenty of expertise when it comes to experience on the water in the team, not just in behind the cockpit as well.
There you go, 7 minutes and counting until the start of the next race. And as I said before, Saunders, this is not about points as such, but it's about getting yourself in the right position, isn't it? Not just for the start of these group races, but also for getting yourself into the final later on, as we ride now with Aoki. Of course, they're all in the boats now, but Taylor's been catching up with pretty much everybody, and they're way down into the launch zone.
Good to go? Went foil to foil in Dubrovnik. Who do you think your biggest competitor out there is for this first race?
Honestly, I believe we're all good, so we're competing against each other. The competition is high, and every single person there is top-notch, for sure.
And it's also kind of a competition with yourself. It's a little bit loose out here, so what does it really take to get you in the zone?
Honestly, just to focus and just be focused and try the best to visualize the track and what I'm going to do, and just hop in the boat and go.
Best of luck, Michelle.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And Aoki here are your championship leaders here, run by Steve Aoki, the legendary American DJ and record producer. But they have had the boat we are now on board with.
So we're definitely working with that, and
2 wins from 3 rounds. I was just listening in there to see what I could actually hear. I could hear some music playing in. I don't know if that was... that's why I stopped talking. I thought it was some of Steve Aoki's tracks just blasting through there.
Onboard DJ.
Absolutely. And you always see Daniel Kloss, don't you? Michel's teammate around in the paddock area. He's always dancing. He's always got his headphones around his neck, and you see his Instagram stories as well. He's doing the same thing through airports and all sorts of other public arenas around the world with the places we visit with E1. We've already been to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, Doha in Qatar, Dubrovnik last time out. But this, critically here at Lake Maggiore, is the first freshwater round of the season as well, and that's making a difference, isn't it?
It does. It throws up different challenges, you know, without getting overly technical. Just even the fact there's no salt in the water changes the floatability of these race birds, so then that obviously changes the weight and the balance in the water, so they have to adapt to that. But you know, the main crucial difference being that when you're racing on near the sea or on the sea, you've got all of that swell coming in, and that can really unsettle the boats going in and out of the turns, where here in this kind of tucked away corner of Lake Maggiore, there's not so much of that going on, not really a current too much to deal with, and the only real difficulties in that side being from the wake that the boats create.
Incidentally, how do they operate the throttle? That is a pedal with their right foot. If you ever come to any of the E1 events, for example, Monte Carlo, next time out, there are simulators you can actually have a go on to get a feel for it yourself, as we ride now briefly with Team Drogba. They also have an F1-esque steering wheel. You can see it there as well in the foreground of the picture. There's all sorts of dials on the bottom of it, and there are buttons you can push. There's paddles on the back as well in terms of being able to adjust the trim up and down. But there's also some buttons, some yellow and green buttons on the right-hand side on the front of the wheel as well, to adjust that trim up or down by increments of 10 as well. And that's what Saunders was talking about before, in order to use that trim to get yourself pitched into the corners, because they often keep flat out on the throttle, don't they? As Westbrook now prepare themselves in the milling area. Easy to spot. Great looking race bird as well. It's literally really shiny down the left-hand side of the carbon fibre towards the bottom of the hull. We were looking at that earlier on when they were craning everybody out of the hangar and into the water to make their way down into the launch zone here at the Marina di Vevella here at Lago Maggiore. So here's how they start then for this second group stage race. This is 2A now. This is the grid with Rafa, who are looking very, very good, dare I say it, so far this weekend, ahead of Drogba, Westbrook, Aoki and Miami completing your 5. So one more boat out there this time than the race you've just seen. Less than 3 minutes to go now then, and for Team Miami and Anna Glennon, she's in lane 5 on the outside, owns more propellers than dresses, she says. Let's see what she can do though for lane 5. They'll be thinking maybe about their long lap run earlier on. Michael, we heard from with Taylor just a moment ago with Aoki. They are leading this championship, but are they going to lose the lead to Rafa as they did earlier on in the season? They really lost out yesterday in terms of track position and the wake. We're moving across as the pilots see it from right to left. So right in the middle now, and looking not to be in a big squeeze, is Sarah Price, the American with Will Smith's Westbrook Racing. She's in a tricky place, actually. Didier Drogba now running an E1 team. He scored some amazing goals for Chelsea in his time. But what can Mika Wilkinson do, the multiple Olympic sailing champion? Lane 2, that's second from the left. And for Rafa Nadal's team, Rafa with their orange and black livery, it's Chris Lazarago who will be starting off here. Lane 1 on the inside. Can she get cleanly out of there and lead on the run down towards the second and third turns? So Saunders, let's fly through the track here at Lago Maggiore. It's 1.1 kilometres for the standard lap, as you can see.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, it's very much a full throttle lap, just straight on the throttle the whole time, and really just using the trim to control the nose direction and the foils to glide their way around those corners as smoothly as possible. But what we really should talk about now is that start procedure, Greg, because the start procedure, Greg, is so crucial to what can happen in these races.
Here we go then, 45 seconds, and they want to get themselves in the best position now, don't they? They would have timed this, of course, the practice sessions we've had.
It's interesting, sometimes you see pilots trying to go a little bit further back within their lane because they're almost getting a bit more of a run up to try and time that perfectly as they cross the line full speed, carry that speed into turn one, where it is so easy to get wrong and have to slow down as you approach the line. And that's the last thing you want, because you lose all of that speed that you've built up, and it puts you very much on the back foot.
So Miami Lane 5 is Annette Glennon, the blue boat at the bottom of your screen. Aoki, championship leaders, Machel, Alabai-Dan, pink and blue. Sarah Price, the American, Westbrook, the red racebird in the middle. It's Drogba with Micah Wilkinson, lane 2. Rafa, Chris Lasaraga is lane 1, and away we go. And Aoki have got the edge, but they still need to tip it down into turn 1. This is going to be so tight. Westbrook has a big moment there. Try not to run into the back of Aoki. Wow.
That was, yeah, really, really good start from Team Aoki there. I think Team Miami, Annette Glennon just caught sleeping right at the back there. And now we've got this battle for third place between Team Rafa and Team Westbrook, both trying to avoid each other's weight going into this slightly faster part of the course. This could be an interesting turn 3.
Here comes Micah Wilkinson. It is going to be an interesting turn 3. He's Wilkinson with the Drogba boat there in second place. Westbrook, I said they were right in the middle, didn't they, with Sarah Price with a big squeeze, and there was a big squeeze down into turn 1, and I have to say everybody did a phenomenal job, because I thought we were going to get some contact momentarily. We remind you, no short or long laps on the opening run. Aoki then have the advantage, but as we've said already, it's a 3-second lead, but that can disappear in the blink of an eye. It only takes one moment and that would evaporate.
Machel looking very smooth around these turns, just building on that advantage and that gap pretty much every single turn. And this, I see maybe a similar position to what we saw with Team Brady in the last race.
And the leaders, Aoki, are taking the short lap already, and so are Drogba. What do Rafa do? We're looking at the bike in third place. They're not taking the short lap.
Now that's exactly what you want to do when you're in the lead, is take that short lap as early as possible to stop
What's going
anyone.
on with Aoki?
Oh, there's a problem with Aoki.
They did the short lap there, Saunders, but then they've gone the wrong way, so...
Have they missed the rejoin, or there's an issue maybe?
They should have carried on to the top of the screen where Drogba is now, so what a nightmare. Drama already then here in E1 at round 4 at Lago Maggiore. Machel did the short lap look, which is the blue line you can see. Now she's going to have to do it again. She's effectively going to lose a lap now, isn't she? I don't believe it. So seldom you see something like that happen. I wonder what happened there.
And that's just fallen perfectly now for Team Drogba, who've now inherited that lead and did the short lap, so got the benefit of having that clean water on the rejoin.
Okay, we're going to have to keep up with this then, aren't we now? Because we've seen that Aoki technically are still in the lead, but surely a penalty coming their way. So Drogba effectively, as you can see for yourself there they are. Although they're shown in second place, they will obviously be inheriting the lead. Have they done a short lap? The answer is yes. They're yet to do the long lap. You can see that from the graphics. So Aoki now going around the long lap at the top of your screen, but it will be Drogba who will effectively lead this race. As sure enough, we now have the confirmation through that there are 2 long lap penalties for this boat here, Aoki. There is the confirmation. That'll be fed through by Team Radio as well. Oh, Saunders, I still can't believe what we've just seen. What a nightmare.
Yeah, that's a real nightmare for Team Aoki, but very much a good situation for Team Drogba. And I wonder when they're going to start thinking about to use that long lap, because they do have the buffer. It's about 13-second gap to Team Rafa behind. You lose about 10 seconds in the long lap. So that would currently bring them out still in the lead, but crucially, would it bring them out in the clean water, which is what they're trying to do.
There's Annette Glennon. She has already done a long lap, so she looks a lot further behind than she really is. Just using the boost there, you can see who's on the boost from the graphics at the top of your screen. That's been changed, incidentally, for 2025. You can now use it intermittently around the lap, and it takes roughly double the number of seconds you've used the boost for. So let's just say you use 3 seconds of boost. To get that fully charged again, it will take around 6 seconds, but they do have 30 seconds available on a single lap as we now look down, and the situation is Wilkinson is effectively your leader, even though shown in second, because those penalties are coming the way of Machel, who's leading.
There's about a 14-second gap now, so there is safety to do this long lap. So I wonder if the spotter will be talking to Micah in the cockpit, saying, you know, this is maybe an opportunity we can do it. We're seeing, is that Team Aoki doing that long lap at the back? No, it's not. It's Team Aoki, just done one of their long lap penalties.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2 so far in terms of 1 actual long lap, 1 long lap penalty, and 1 more to come. We're getting a few whispers about some protests maybe coming through as well off the start, so more coming your way in a moment. Wow, can you believe it? What's the gap there now between second and third, which of course is going to effectively be the fight for this win? Have they done any short or long laps so far, Rafa? No, they haven't actually. So Rafa still need to do both the short and the long lap. That's going to get tight, incidentally, at the top of the screen as Rafa just rejoined. So Rafa have now done their first long lap there with Chris Lazaraga, and I just saw her rejoining at the merge point in front of Sarah Price, who's with Will Smith's red boat. That's the Westbrook Racing boat. There they are in third and fourth positions, but you still have another short lap to come here for each of them. So now effectively they should stay in theory where they are, and this is a perfect example of just how difficult it is to see where you're going.
Team Rafa having now done that long lap means that the gap to between Drogba and Rafa has increased, so it's really a good opportunity for Drogba to get in that long lap, especially because they are now approaching the back of Team Aoki, almost to lap them, and I think they're doing their long lap now. That's perfect, it's great use of strategy. Don't get caught up in the wake of the boat in front, take the long lap, you've got plenty of time, but will Team Westbrook now cause them a bit of a problem coming back on the rejoin? I think he's done enough. Yeah, safely now, and again, crucially in that clean water in front to get back on the power and keep the lead.
Rafa protested Drogba, we're hearing, Saunders, but it has been rejected. Of course, the judges, the stewards have the meeting, have had a look at that, and it's all part of the game as well. But if they clearly feel an unfair advantage was gained, that's how it works. But no luck this time in terms of the protest. We're now on the final lap of this race. We were briefly on board there with Westbrook. So Aoki still up at the front at the moment. But there is, of course, one more long lap to come. Now, this is going to be tight, isn't it? Because Drogba are in that second place. We know it is effectively 10 seconds you lose when you do the long lap, and there's 12 between them. This could be very, very close.
Rafa now coming in for their short lap. It's about a 6-second game. It's going to be very close on the rejoin. This could cause Drogba all sorts of problems, and Rafa have done it. They've used that short lap perfectly, got themselves in front, now going to cause all sorts of problems in the wake for Team Drogba.
Alawadan has done an amazing job to stretch out the advantage, knowing she's got all these long laps to do. So this is the third long lap they've had to do now. One is a standard one, two penalties, and how tight is this going to be now between all three of them? Look at that, Aoki on the left, just about getting in front of Rafa. Wow, it doesn't get much closer than that, does it? And have they got away with it? That awful error that was made earlier on in the race, and it seems as though they might be able to get away with it. They've taken the penalties, they're still leading, and we're coming up to the last corner on the last lap now. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discussion about this as they all make their way back to the launch zone. What a way to win! Michelle Alawadan is over the line, at least on the water, but then of course we will await the official results. Rafa our second, Drogba for now our third, and Westbrook will be fourth.
That's great use of strategy from Rafa to take that short lap in the last lap. They did exactly what they needed to do. Excellent work from the spotters to communicate that down to Chris Lazaraga, take the short lap, pop themselves in front of Drogba, who were essentially leading straight after that Aoki issue, and it really felt like it was theirs to lose, but Rafa timed that perfectly.
They certainly did, and Anna Glennon completing the 5 there for Team Miami, is coming through now for that 5th position, several seconds behind. Really lost a lot of ground there off the start. Well, that was, and here they come now, but that was a bizarre race, wasn't it? That was so strange to see someone taking the wrong course there. As I say, there's Miami over the line now. We saw them actually, funnily enough, they're actually the first to get into the launch zone this morning when we popped down, didn't we, to see the boats being craned, the race birds being craned down into the water. They were definitely the fastest to get into the launch zone. Aoki coming in. It's going to be very interesting to hear what they've got to say with Danny Kloss as well when Michelle gets out. What a strange situation that was. And they come just gingerly in. So Team Rafa and Chris, great job. That was all about strategy, wasn't it? So close.
Yes, absolutely. It has been an incredible job, teamwork. My radio man was awesome. We were very good with managing the radio, the boost, everything. So we finally got that P1. I'm very happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. Good luck for the rest of the day. Well, we're just looking at the timing screen, aren't we, here? Getting Vamos indeed It's interesting because the timing screen is showing Aoki is 6 laps down, aren't they? But they did complete the penalties and cross the line first. So I'm going to be interested to see how this works itself out.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see how it stays that way. It just purely by what we saw on the water, it was very much not the case. And this was a well-earned win from Team Rafa and a pretty good close battle between Rafa and Drogba all the way up into that final lap. And of course, that short lap strategy for Rafa, they did it at the end.
We're just hearing some latest orders from the timing department. So the situation is the 6 laps is on the screen because they've completed their 6 laps of the actual race. However, they did cut the course, didn't they, earlier on, but they've done the 2 long lap penalties. So at the moment, I don't know if anyone actually knows for sure what the result of this race will be. So all we can tell you at the moment is that we don't know either. We're waiting for official confirmation to come through. They did serve the penalties, to be fair.
I just think they were a lap behind.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Serving, so they were in the mix, but a lap behind.
OK, we'll have to just find out, won't we, and wait. Because at the moment, Aoki is still being shown as ahead by 4.2 seconds on the timing screen. I can't wait to hear what Michelle and Danny have got to say about it. And let's just see if we can listen into any of this.
Tested the shortcut because the free practice was cancelled. But you basically went the wrong way. Can you show me? So you went. This is the short lap. I go to the you went to like no, you went this way. You went this way, not that way. What? Yeah, you came this way, not that way. You came back to the start. No. Speak to the team. Speak to the team. But that's what it looked like. You headed back to the start. You headed this way. You're meant to go to C. It's just here. It's just that. Cutting across. So all you're meant to do is rejoin the course back here, but you went down here. I did not go to C. No.
How frustrating for Aoki, of course. We don't have short and long laps here on day 1, Friday. This is now, of course, Saturday, and we have now just had the confirmation through on our timing screen from race control that Aoki have indeed been disqualified from this race. So it means Rafa win from Drogba, Westbrook and Miami. We will try and get down there, of course, and speak to anybody if we can from Team Aoki, but I'm sure you'll understand that there's a lot of consternation down here and, of course, frustration at the moment. There is Taylor.
I wonder if when she took the short lap, she just came in across the wrong mark.
I think you missed one of the buoys, or you had the wrong
I think we're hearing
entry
Taylor
point,
now
so that
down
was
on
the
the
but you took the
ground.
long lap, so you don't know. Yeah.
Michelle obviously not in a mood for chatting at the moment. Of course, she's a lovely, lovely person, Michelle. We've met her here for the first time. It was a pleasure to meet her myself a couple of days ago, and she's obviously just wanting to understand exactly what's gone on here before making any official statements, which you can completely comprehend.
What is the team, Jess?
Just looking for the team now, making her way back across the bridge here from the marina. You do have to feel for Saunders, of course. It must be so easily done in the heat of the moment as well, but it's something they normally rehearse earlier on in the proceedings across the race event.
Yeah, no, it obviously has massive consequences as well. So, you know, if it is a pilot mistake, then I'm sure she'll want to rectify that. And but that now means that teammate, of course, Daniel Kloss is now going to be in the outside lane of that race.
Good point.
The disadvantage, you know, more than just this race.
Well, what drama. They're the championship leaders. Well, Micah Wilkinson didn't have, thankfully for him, quite so much drama. We'll get down now and listen to the New Zealand sailor who is with Taylor. But wow, what a situation.
Micah Wilkinson down here on the launch zone, and what a race that was. You probably didn't hear or see what we saw when you were in the cockpit there, but this was a girl race too. All the pilots were fighting it out. You kind of held your ground and held a pretty good race.
Yeah, there's some pretty badass girls around, so certainly didn't race any differently. Yeah, it was a full-on race. I saw Aoki peel off. I think they might have done the wrong course there, so didn't follow them, luckily, and we ended up P2, so it's solid. We're hoping for a win, but we'll take it.
Next plan, what's going on for the next race?
Wow, Oben's going to get in and crush it. She's driving really well, so excited to watch her, and then hopefully we can progress through to the finals, and who knows?
Definitely. Team Drogba is all smiles today.
Absolutely, loving it.
He caught me off guard slightly then. I thought he said crash it. He said crush it. Oben's going to crush it.
Crush it, yes, crash it, try not to. I thought we were going to get a bit of contact actually at the start of that race. They did a great job, I have to say. Everybody did a wonderful job to get through turn 1 without any touching there. Remember, they can almost not see where they're going. They're on instinct at one point. There's so much spray and wake and everything being splashed up onto the screen there. But there you can see the course. There's that short lap there in the middle, delineated by the blue lines on our graphics. This is Team Brady in the meantime, and if you're joining us for the first time, we just remind you there is one female and one male pilot in each of the lineups. So now they need to do the switcheroo. So Tom Brady's pilots, Emma and Sam, here they are. Emma's already been out there and done a great job, and Sam will now take over. And of course, it's all determining the position, the lane position. So those first races we've just seen in the group stages determine the lane positioning for the second one, and you really want to be on that inside line if you can. But what a race we've just seen. Let's just try and take stock of what has just happened, because this is definitely, in the 1.5 seasons of E1 so far, one of the single most bizarre situations we have ever seen. So Aoki, with Mishael Al-Abadan of Saudi Arabia, makes a great start. You saw the effect of the wake there for Westbrook. Look at the red boat as we look straight over the left foil of Aoki. Look, moving around, it's about to get even worse, and Westbrook sails off to their right-hand side there. They wanted to go left, they end up going right. Tight here with Aoki and Drogba through the first turn, but this is lap 1 and everything's looking great. That was tight, Saunders. That's the boost effect for you. This is Westbrook, this is that moment on board. Just listen to this. How can you possibly see through all of that on the screen? The answer is you can't. And this, though, is the moment that decided that race. This is Al-Abadan taking the short lap, but then should have continued up towards the 2-3 section, and instead has gone right round to the final turn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really trying to scratch my head as to how that could possibly happen, unless you've, you know, caught in some splash or your visibility goes and you just lose your navigation ability just for a second. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly, you're kind of just going in a straight.
No, where are you right now? Right to the right.
Oh, the moment of horror for Al-Abadan, and she realises what she's done. She doesn't want to believe it. I'm sure it's a mistake. It's a, you know, she's only human. These things happen, but the team knew, and I think they knew that was a short-lived victory, didn't they, Saunders, when they came through? Because effectively they've not done that lap, have they? So they would have had to do another lap, really.
Always a lap down at that point, and it really just became a battle for Team Drogba to lose, and they did pretty much on that final lap, with Team Rafa's short lap strategy.
This is Chris Lazaraga, who was very kind to, during the qualifying time trials, come and join us here in the commentary box yesterday. And she was just exuding confidence, actually, I have to say, when she got to the commentary box, took a picture of the screen, did the same before she left, and rushed straight back down to give all that information to the team.
Who's on my right?
Well, as the song once went, how bizarre. Rafa winning from Drogba, Westbrook and Miami. And Aoki racing, we did not expect to see that particular word, did we? Underneath their results, disqualified for cutting the course there. And that now puts Danny Kloss in a very difficult position. He's on the outside lane for the second part of the group races coming your way. What drama here at Lago Maggiore. It just goes to show that anything can happen. Saunders, I do feel for Mishael though. I mean, she must be feeling like she's let the team down, but it's not the end of the world. They're not out of this, are they?
No, and that's the great thing about this race format, the way that it works on a race day, is that there is opportunities to come back. You know, if it isn't about getting into the final, it's about doing what you can in the race-off or the place race if you get into that. There's all these different ways to earn position and points.
In the meantime, this is the Ocean Club here at Lago Maggiore. Corporate hospitality at its best. I need to get down there myself, actually. Look, there's plenty of good reasons for heading down there by the looks of things. Maybe we could pop down there later, Saunders. If anyone ever comes along to any of these events, the Ocean Club here is where it really is all happening. And I'm sure Monte Carlo next time out will be particularly busy with a selection of celebrities.
I'm surprised I'm seeing more people in the pool in the heat that it is. It's 30 plus degrees.
True. There's pizzas, pastas, coffee in this part of the world, isn't it? It's a beautiful part of the world here up at Lago Maggiore. We're up in the north of Italy. We can see the Alps. They're still covered in snow in the background, as we've seen on some of these shots. And still another spectacular 3 rounds planned after here as well. Monte Carlo, as I say, next time out for round 5. Then it's Lagos in Nigeria and Miami at the end of the season. This is season 2 for E1. And if you are just switching on for the first time, these are definitely not conventional speedboats. They have foils, and the idea is to get up on the foil, so you have a gap between the hull on the bottom of the boat itself and the water, and that is the best possible way to achieve lap time with these machines.
And the way they do that is by using the trim of that propeller, the attack angle into the water, essentially bringing the nose up or down with the aim to be nose on the horizon, keeping that balance, that smooth running above the water.
So the action continuing here in the UIM E1 World Championship presented by PIF, and this is round 4 of 7 for 2025. We're at the beautiful Lago Maggiore up in the north of Italy, and we have already had 2 group races with 2 still to go, and this is where it really starts to get very, very serious indeed, with the final coming our way later on in the day. So, Group Stage A, Group Stage B, as you can see for yourself. So, Saunders now, we know who's going to be in each lane position, don't we, as we get through to the final segment, as it were, of the group stages. And it's all about that positioning in the inside line if you possibly can.
Yeah, and that is the really where you want to be in that lane, you know, trying to get the perfect entry into that turn 1 and do what we've seen in the races so far today, get ahead and maintain that lead.
Remember, the winner of the next race now will go automatically through to the final where the big points are available. Incidentally, as well, at the same time, we're going to see who the first person is to go into, the first team, I should say, to go into the place race later on today as well. So, without overcomplicating this, there's 2 more group stage races coming up now. The winner of each is straight through to the final. Last position, I hate to use that word, in each will go through to the place race, and then we have a race-off later on as well to see who goes through into the final. We'll keep updating you as we go with the number of points available. And don't forget, quick reminder, that fastest lap across the whole day here will also be added to your championship tally. So one of the teams will pick up a bonus point for the fastest lap today in any of the races, and every point counts. It was already extremely tight coming into this 4th round of the season with only 16 points between the top 2. That's already decreased to 14 points, Aoki over Rafa, because Rafa scored 2 in qualifying yesterday.
I love the jeopardy of this group stage now, this second group stage. Is really, like you said, only one of the pilots can get into the final, so it's not all or nothing, you know. There are other opportunities to get into the final that come up, but I do love the idea of just battling it for one spot, do you know what I mean? Very exciting.
Yeah, because of course, once you are through to the final, that consists of 5 teams, and that basically means you've got at least 15 points, doesn't it? If you're through to the final, it'll be 38 points for winning the final later on. It's 38, 30, 28, 19, 15, and 5 for 9th place. So lane 4 for this next one is Rusty Wyatt, and he has been catching up in the last few minutes with our very own Taylor Schneider.
Rusty Wyatt, Team Malula has been having a bit of a difficult weekend. We saw that incredible podium finish happening in Dubrovnik. This is a different story. Tell me about this weekend.
Yeah, it was a really tough day yesterday. We had the pace for sure. The bird, we've made a couple changes there this weekend, so I think we're moving in the right direction for sure. We had a bit of a tough qualifying race there yesterday. Definitely did not want to hit that buoy. It cost obviously cost us the race, but it cost a lot of time to get that repaired for today, and you know, it put a lot of pressure on us. So I think Katie's doing just fine. We had obviously a couple things wrong there, but we've rejigged our plan for the next upcoming race, and let's see what we can do.
Any insight as to what that plan is? You want to tell me?
Oh, yeah, I think you can put that all together. The start run wasn't so good, so we're definitely working with that, and you know, we're putting everything together. I think we're going to be just fine. There's plenty of racing left, so we're quite excited, and we're going to give it our all.
There absolutely is, and definitely time for redemption. As we've seen, it truly is anybody's game out there when it comes to boost foils. Really anything can happen. Is there anything besides the start that you think you have planned in strategy to get there?
Yeah, well, now today we have the short lap, long lap. We got all of it today, so there's many strategies that we've had to go over and find our proper boost points and get our launch, obviously, key points. So I'm thinking we have come to a solution, what we're going to do, and get that bird out front. I'm quite excited to get back in the boat for the second group stage, and we're starting 4th, but I'm not too worried. We got a good strategy, like I say.
Thanks, Rusty. Thanks, Taylor. Nice try as well, Taylor, there, trying to get us all of those tactical secrets. I love it. I don't know, Taylor loves that as well, doing some digging there down in the launch zone. OK, start procedure then, Saunders. That's what Rusty was talking about there. What does that mean?
He mentioned about, that being the strategy, or at least an element of that strategy, but there's so much that's out of your control within that. You can do as much as you can as a team, as a pilot, to get to that start line at the green flag at the highest speed. But sometimes it works well and you catch up with others that are slower in front, and then you have to slow down, or they're getting in the way. So it is very much a trade-off, a risk versus reward sort of situation. And you have to kind of roll the dice to be another chance to win. But sometimes, I guess, depending on your lane position, it might not be worth it. To take that risk. But when you're in a position like that and there is only one spot guaranteed into the final from this race, why not roll the dice?
Yeah, it's a risk-reward situation, isn't it? Of that, there is no doubt. You can see them there following the rules by circulating anti-clockwise in the milling area. 5 minutes to go now, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. There's the championship situation then for Team Brady. Tom Brady's squad. We've seen Emma out there, Sam now at the helm. Team Brady, they've gone for 4 GPs now, would you believe, the reigning champions, without a win, and it is their longest winless streak since E1 began at the start of the 2024 season. But they do have the momentum of that podium last time out at Dubrovnik when they were in second place. That's Marit Stromoy there for Team Brazil. They will be in lane 2 here, so from the right of Brady, if you were looking from the cockpit. They've not yet made the final this season, so if they win this race coming up now, they would be in the final for the first time, and I'm sure they'd be delighted. They need the points as well, quite frankly, because they're down there in 8th position, as you saw in the championship. Team Blue Rising with Sarah Mizir, here they are, the pilot from Jamaica, will be in lane 3, and they are 4th in the championship. And you never know, Saunders, with some of the problems now affecting the likes of Aoki, we could see this championship really concertina moving towards Monte Carlo next time out.
I mean, they went straight through to the final last time round, and yeah, just like you mentioned there, we've seen so much drama already today that it almost feels like making a prediction could be a curse. Yeah. Commentator's curse, Greg.
It does, because we were bigging up Aoki all across the proceedings yesterday, weren't we? And Danny Klaas, we were asking him down in the paddock, and he popped into the commentary box. We said, what's the secret? What are you doing? Other teams have been saying that Aoki have been playing around with their ballast, and the boats sound different because of the way the motor is in the water, and all sorts of different things we've heard. And we get here, and it's all just unravelling, isn't it, for Aoki so far? There, though, is the reigning champion, Sam Coleman at the helm. This is Team Brady. Can they end that winless streak? They would be delighted to do so. This is pivotal now. Whoever wins this is straight through to the final. If you finish 4th in this race, you will not be in the final, you will be in the place race, so you don't really want to be down there, do you? Brady, Brazil, Blue Rising, and Alula completing your reduced field of 4 for this one, so there should be, in theory, a little bit more space on the run to the first turn. Rusty Wyatt, then we've heard from Team Alula with Taylor down in the paddock area in the launch zone, I should say, just a moment ago. A very experienced powerboat racer then over in the States, but actually hailing from Canada is Rusty Wyatt. He is in the worst of the 4 lanes, though. He's on the outside. Lane 3 then, second from the right as they head down towards turn 1 is the pilot from Jamaica, Sarah Mizir, the GT racer, former equestrian, as I said before, and that master's degree in architecture as well, so I'm sure she would have been admiring the real estate in this part of the world. That's got Saunders going. He's found that hilarious. Team Brazil then with Marit Stromoy are in lane 2. Powerboat racer, but as we've already said before, the way you operate the trim with these machines is very, very different. They're in lane 2, second from the left, but lane 1 for Team Brady, your reigning champions. It is Sam Coleman on the inside line. And of course, extremely confident already, bearing in mind what his teammates done in the first group race for them earlier on. We are now just less than 90 seconds away from the start of this all-important race. Who's going to get through to the final? Okay, Saunders, never mind architecture. Talk us through the course.
Sorry, that didn't get me going there. Because obviously going full throttle for a whole lap, I don't think there's that much time to enjoy the architecture surrounding the lake, Greg. But yes, it is a very technical circuit. We're seeing really how much time you can lose going through some of these turns. And it's all about getting up on the foil quickly outside of the corner, getting nice and balanced, keep that top speed up is really crucial. But again, the start procedure is everything in E1.
Yes, we've seen two boats very wide already in the first two races today. Here we go then, 45 seconds. You can see it at the bottom of the screen where we've heard people talking about the start procedure. This is the start procedure. Sam looks so calm, doesn't he, down there on board with Brady. Nobody going too soon.
Team Malula currently facing the wrong direction. I'm not sure if that is a real last-minute gamble trying to come around there or whether there's an issue. But they are leaving it a little bit late, I would say.
They did have an issue yesterday as well, didn't they, up at turn 3 when they had that collision with the Smart Mark. I fear this is a problem, you know, for Team Alula. Surely they wouldn't want to be facing this way at this point. And we do indeed have a 3-minute delay, we are hearing. So, wow, this is proving to be a very dramatic Saturday so far, isn't it? With all of the antics and the drama of Aoki in that previous race. And now Alula, for the second time in 2 days here, have an issue.
I tell you what, 3 minutes isn't a long time, but as much as I'm very envious of any of these pilots being in these race birds and getting to drive these amazing machines, sitting in them currently for 3 minutes right now would not be that enjoyable because of the heat. It was 30+ degrees externally in the ambient temperature, but inside these cockpits that could be going anything up to 40-50 degrees, incredibly hot and sweaty.
No,
Although it doesn't look overly...
No, I was just saying, I'm
too
just
hot there, does he? But
trying to have a... There we go, there's Alula. Sorry to talk across you there. I think they've rebooted the boat. They've got it in reverse, haven't they? They do have a reverse gear available to them with the electric motor. These boats, of course, are all electric with the battery in the middle to enhance the centre of gravity. All the boats weighing a minimum of 1,300 kilos. So we think they've got it going again. The Team Alula, championed by LeBron James team. They would be starting closest to our camera as we look down. Initially, they'll be on the bottom of the screen. There you go, from this shot, 4th on the outside. So lane 1 is the inside, lane 4 is the outside. And 2 minutes to go now after this delayed start to this 3rd of the 4 group stage races. The team looking on, Katie keeping as calm as she possibly can there at the back of the shot. There's nothing they can do, of course. It's just the pilot on board at the moment, Rusty White, who's had to get that boat restarted. I guess he's just running through the procedures now, isn't he, Saunders, to just check it's all running okay. It looks all right. It's running.
Yeah, in that kind of anti-clockwise pattern that they're all in now, is definitely facing the right direction now, which is a good start, and trying to get that strategy lined up. A strategy that he talked about with Taylor being tweaked to be better this time round. Let's see if that comes out and that pays off.
And everyone else having to just sit there, feeling tense and feeling very hot, as you've already said. This is Team Brady and Sam Coleman, and just keeping calm as well. You don't want to really start overthinking things. 1 minute to go. They will all know that. They are all told that. They all have a clock as well, incidentally, on the dash. We're just looking from our onboard camera here across the dash into the eyes of the pilots. They do have a clock there, but of course it's all a little bit out of sync now. Some of the spectators there waving, you can see, because it is a marina. There are owners of private craft down there as well. It's the Marina di Verbella here on Lago Maggiore, but we are now counting down the seconds. Half a minute to go. Let's hope Alula's problems, those gremlins, don't creep back into the system again. There's Brazil. Look at Brady. Brady, have we got another delay? I think we might have another delay here. Brady some way further back, or are they starting to creep away? We're being told there's a delay. We're just awaiting now to see what the teams say. They're obviously looking at the timing screens as well as the telemetry for all of the boats. And we do indeed, would you believe it, have another delay, and it's Brady this time. I said they were trailing there at the back, so there's some sort of problem going on. What a strange situation.
I mean, I don't want to over-speculate as to what the problems could be until we actually find out for sure, but it does always make me think, in conditions like this, when there is heat, you know, see a lot in other championships, that the impact that heat can have on machinery sometimes, as it does to humans too, is sometimes it's hard to deal with heat, and there can be slight performance or efficiency issues and things that they have to try and get to the better of and figure out before they can actually start pushing them. Because then, you know, as soon as you get going, as soon as you're asking, you're demanding all that power and energy from something like a battery, it needs to be in a good spot to do that.
Tom Brady himself, the team owner, the American football superstar, the quarterback with in the NFL. He's not actually here this weekend, but he'll be watching this, you can be sure, back in the States, and he'll be feeling very, very pensive as well. 2 minutes to go then. We hope we've got our fingers, toes and everything crossed here at Lake Maggiore. And of course, the poor Blue Rising as well in Brazil, they've not actually had an issue at all so far. They've had their starts delayed through no fault of their own in many ways.
Yeah, just sitting there getting warmer and warmer, going over that strategy, maybe talking with the team, just refining any last-minute tweaks they want to do to that strategy and to that race start. But ultimately, it all comes down to trying to make it work, you know, getting across that line at the perfect point, at the perfect speed, and holding that position into turn one to try and get into the lead.
Okay, here we go, 90 seconds remaining. Now, they're all positioning themselves. Blue Rising are at the back at the moment, but this is about getting the power on. They'll know, of course, they've tried to run through this in the practice sessions earlier on in the weekend, how long it takes to get from where they are now to the line, and they want to time it perfectly. They want to just get across, don't they, as the clock counts down to 3, 2, 1 and 0. If you go too soon, you would be given a penalty, and we had a selection of teams doing that. For those of you who were with us for the races in Croatia at Dubrovnik last time out, you would have seen that. Several went too soon and were given penalties. So you can't go too soon, but you don't want to leave it too late either. And then once you've got that sorted out, there's the small matter of where you actually are on the water, on the run down into the first turn. And now they're all starting to creep, aren't they? Nobody wants to go too soon. It must be so tempting to follow the pilot alongside you, but you've just got to focus on your own timing. They'll be in touch with the teams as well via the radio.
Rusty Wyatt has had some really good starts in the past, and he's just almost sitting off there a little bit to have more time to get up to top speed, crossing that line at the perfect moment. Let's see if it works out.
Yeah,
he's gone early.
His team did call him the king of the stars, didn't they, in one of their social media posts the other day. But like you say, the Canadian has gone early. There's the countdown at the bottom of your screen. You'll see a yellow flag. There it is on the start marshal's boat. Don't go too soon. It's going to be tight there for Alula. That was really tight, but away we go. Whoever wins this is straight through into the final. And sure enough, Alula are leading, but not for long. Brady's got the inside line.
Let's see what they can do. Let's see if that start strategy they talked about tweaking worked. I think it has. It's gone around the outside, using that boost absolutely perfectly now on this straight part of the section to get into the lead.
Excellent, excellent start. We are now then on board with your new leaders. We're looking back at Brady. Behind Brady is Blue Rising. Behind Blue Rising is Brazil at the back. It's not been the best of starts actually from Marit Stromoy so far, the Norwegian pilot. We're on the standard lap for this opening lap, and then we've got short and long laps to think about, but we are side by side at the front. Alula on the left, that's Brady on the right. It's almost foil to foil as we come down towards the end of the lap.
Yeah, it's incredibly tight from them. This setup for Team Brady must be great to be able to make up that gap. And now getting to the lead, in fact, this is exceptional work from Team Brady.
Oh, great shots from the onboard cameras. Brady then are leading. Are they going to take the short lap, I wonder, first time round? This is the first opportunity. Do they peel off to the left and take the short lap, or do they not? There's the marker. Yes, that's exactly what they've done. They've taken the short lap to look for some clean track position. Alula are sticking to the standard lap. Blue Rising are doing a short lap, as you can see, and I wonder whether Brazil might get the long lap out of the way while they're at the back of the field at the moment. So you can see who's done long and short laps through the graphics at the top of your screen, and this is the sort of time you'll be gaining or losing as a result.
Team Brady looking very, very smooth through these turns, just dropping that foil down, getting that extra traction and avoiding the drag and gliding themselves around the turn nicely. And we're seeing now a long lap penalty for Team Alula. We should find out what that's for.
It's got to be a jump start, surely, because I said it was close, didn't I? There was about 1 second, if I'm not mistaken, on the clock. Yes, it's just been confirmed in our ears here. It was a jump start. So it was a little bit too good then for Rusty Wyatt this time.
Got to be milliseconds in that. That's, you know, it almost looked like it was timed perfectly, and that is the difference, how much that tiny margin can make in E1 racing.
And in the background there, I think I saw the long lap being completed. Yes, I did, for Brazil. So Marit Stromoy has gone quite early with the long lap. It makes sense because they're at the back at the moment anyway. Okay, so this throws a different complexion on things now as well, because Rusty Wyatt has to do that long lap. He had to do one, he now ends up with 2 long laps. One of them standard, one of them as a penalty. So I think it's fair to say it's looking rather good now for Brady. Sam Coleman, it must have been so tempting to go with Rusty as he blasted up alongside him off the line, but Sam knew they were very, very tight on the time.
You've got Sarah Mizir behind Sam Coleman now, but a smaller gap than what you lose by doing the long lap. So maybe we'll see that strategy holding off when it comes to long lap. Well, Sam Coleman's gone straight into it. Let's see how Sarah Mizir reacts to that.
There is Sarah Mizir. That was so tight, wasn't it, with Sam doing his long lap, and they were very close in the merge zone, but of course Sarah would have known that Sam ahead had done the long lap, so she would have been fully aware that he was about to rejoin from her right-hand side. So it's looking very good now indeed for the reigning champions to cement their position in the final. Don't forget, whoever's 4th in this race does not go into the final. They will be in the place race, and the other 2 will be in the race-off later on today. So this is looking very good now for Brady, who are yet to win a GP so far this season as the reigning champions.
Strategy's gone really well and in a very good position to get themselves into the final. I think that work with the spotters paid off really well, because they are taking so much speed through all of these turns. The setup looks perfect, and maybe the spotters talked down to Sam Coleman and said, you know, the average is a 10-second loss, but you're actually only losing about 8, so go for it. And it worked out because he came out in front still of Sarah Mizir, and now with both long and short lap done, it's now just holding this position across the line.
Yeah, so the question now is, who's going to end up in the place race? That's the question, because Rusty Wyatt is only 10 seconds ahead of Marit Stromoy and still has another long lap, so they're going to be close. And just to add to this drama, the plot thickens further. Blue Rising now have a long lap as well, would you believe? They're currently in 2nd place. I can only imagine that's for jumping the start as well, perhaps, Saunders.
I think it was just them doing the long lap as opposed to penalty. They're just using that strategy. And let's see how they end up there. But it's going to be very tight on the rejoin now between Team Brazil and Team Alula. Alula just got the better of them. I believe, have they done their long lap penalty already? Or is there still one to go with Rusty Wyatt? Yeah, they've done both of them.
He's done that, yeah, he's done both now. It's updated, but he's still got one short lap to go, so that's good news for him. Well, this could be a good damage to limitation exercise. What he needs to do now, of course, is keep himself out of the place race, hasn't he? So what's the gap back to Marit, because Marit still has another short lap as well as we get down into the penultimate lap of this race.
And Team Brazil into their short lap now. Let's see how that comes out, because Team Alula got the best of them when they did the long lap, but yeah, that short lap obviously gains you about 6 seconds, so comfortably now in front of Team Alula.
There's Brady then with the advantage on the left-hand side of your screen. Blue Rising in that 2nd place, 17.5 seconds behind it. Yes, I apologise, as you said before, it was just them doing their standard long lap, wasn't it? Not actually given a penalty.
Top 3 currently now have done both their long lap and short lap. Rusty Wyatt and Team Alula still has that short lap to do. He'll have to do it now on the final lap. And let's see if he can gain enough time to sneak that 3rd position off of Marit Stromoy and Team Brazil.
Well, this is absolutely critical, isn't it? Because this is to avoid going into the place race. So this potentially is the difference between going into the final or not going into the final. They won't go through automatically. They'd have to do it from the race off. But whoever is 4th in this race is not in the final. So what's going to happen? There's Brazil, but Alula on the left-hand side of your screen will now take the short lap, which is approximately 6 seconds shorter. This is going to be really close.
This is going to be really, really tight between all 3 of them, actually, but crucially between Team Alula and Team Brazil. Who is going to get that 3rd spot? It's tight. I think Team Alula have just about done it, and now Brazil are going to get caught up in all the wake behind and just cause themselves all sorts of issues.
Oh, what a shame for Team Brazil. They've done well, though, to bounce back from problems with the gearbox earlier on in the weekend, and some big personnel changes as well at Brazil, with Steve Curtis having left Westbrook and gone to Team Brazil between the previous event and this one. But Brady, in the meantime, the reigning champions over the line here, and they cement their position in the final at Lago Maggiore. Absolutely excellent stuff from both of their pilots, and Sammy's delighted with that now. Who's going to get that 3rd place? I think Brazil are a little bit too far back, aren't they? And like you say, Saunders, in the wake of Alula.
Yeah, excellent work using that short lap in that final lap to take that third position, and now, of course, advance themselves in a better position for the races up to come, and getting into that place race. Sorry, even better.
Over the line they go then for that third place, and Brazil sadly then will not be in the final. That confirms that Brazil, fourth in this race, will be in the place race. Still means plenty of championship points are up for grabs, but whatever happens later, they will not be in the final. Wow. We have seen some real drama, haven't we, so far today, with people making mistakes, penalties, almost some contact off the start as well. But Brady, I don't want to put the mockers on them here and jinx it, but I have to say they're looking very, very confident and don't seem to be panicking. You know, it must have been so easy for Tom here to have jumped that start as well as Alula did. Alula made an excellent start, but they went a little bit too soon. There was about a second left on the clock, but Rusty did a good job to get back up into third position. But there is Sam Coleman. We'll be chatting with Emma, his teammate, as he comes back in now. Emma Kimalainen from Finland. Sam Coleman is from Wales in the UK, just cruising their way back down now into the launch zone. Other boats are being prepared for the next races. And again, how many times do we say this? It just confirms how important your start position is, especially here as well, because one of the first things all of the team members were saying to us when we arrived a couple of days ago is that this is the most difficult course on which to overtake this season. Sam, just before you jump out, if you could, yeah, thank you very much. What a great run that was, and very tight at the start.
I think it was Rusty in there. Rusty's starts are on point, and I knew I had to race him hard to try and get ahead, and it was good fun, good racing, and yeah, we tried to get out front and run away. That was the plan, and hopefully we executed it. A bit tight on the rejoin with Blue Rising. I think that was my fault for mishearing a call, but hopefully it made it interesting.
Very much for the entertainment, and well done for your position in the final. We'll let Sam get out of the cockpit and cool off a little bit. But yeah, that was so tight, wasn't it? And again, team communication was key there.
Absolutely. I think even if you take away that long lap penalty for the jump start, and he had made that illegal start, it just shows you how good the setup was from Team Brady, because that race bird was hugging its way around those turns so nicely, so efficiently, keeping the speed up. And it almost felt like even with the better race start, they still were able to bridge the gap and get into the lead.
This then is the debrief. Kimalainen
I saw the scooter there and I was like,
on your right, and there's Sam Coleman on your left.
I swear.
I'm trying to listen in there, but couldn't quite hear what they were saying, but I can imagine it's a good job.
Absolutely, yeah. And Emma, I'm sure, giving her teammate Sam a few tips there as well, because he's obviously not seen the race yet, has he? She's obviously telling him how their boat looked, but also what others were doing further back and what was happening.
He, at that point, might not even known about the long lap penalty. I'm sure the team must have radioed him at some point to say, you know, you're not going to be battling with Rusty. But still, you know, when you talked to him in the cockpit, he didn't seem to know.
This is what's known as the launch zone, and everybody, at least at the beginning of the weekend, we're positioned in championship order. And then the race birds are put away into a hangar overnight, and they're craned down into the water here, and they gradually make their way back into the launch zone there. You can see the marina as well around, and a few of the other boats now just taking the opportunity to cross while the course is open, and obviously the safety boats are out there as well. Now look at this. I was looking at the clock at the same time as looking at Alula, and I reckon there was about a second still left on the clock, Saunders. There's the yellow flag. Look, there. The flag is clearly still up when Alula crosses the line to start that race.
Very, very tight indeed, but you know, that's the difference. I think Katie's even seen it there herself, that it might have come a little bit too early.
Yes, I think she was very much hoping that wasn't the case, but I think she knew. Oh, look at Brazil having a real moment and sort of overcorrecting one way and then the other. Brazil lost so much time there. That's exactly what you're always saying, Saunders, with the wake. We're on board now with Blue Rising. Oh, there's Brazil's moment.
Sometimes you've got to shoot those evasive manoeuvres almost to get out of the wake and give yourself a chance at faster running. It's so tricky to be dealing with the trim. Everything just doesn't react the way you want it to when you're sitting behind another boat.
They're always talking about cavitating, aren't they, and how it has an effect. Look at the correction and the over-correction, and then again, everything going on inside that cockpit, a little bit of water coming through as well. Is it any wonder? Of course, that's completely normal. That's not a problem. The hatch is obviously sealed there above the pilots' heads with the crash helmets on. They are strapped very tightly into place as well with the safety belts. But look at that, up on the falls. But this is where you lose the time, isn't it, as you come back down again?
It is indeed. I mean, sometimes they turn from race birds into birds, you know, and they just fly out of the water. It's just trying to get that balance right of having the foil up when you're going in a straight line and then lowering it back down to get that traction and with the nose in the air so you can kind of glide your way around the corner at the turn. That's what they're trying to do. But it's also timing, because you're trying to do that into every corner and not be up on the foils as you then make the turn, because that's where you lose your stability.
And what a beautiful shot that is for your reigning champions as Team Brady come through to confirm their place in the final here at Lago Maggiore. Very calm indeed, very nonchalant reaction there from Sam Coleman as he crosses the line. He's already thinking ahead, isn't he, to the final later on, and perhaps just a few minute changes maybe to boat setup. So this really was pivotal, because P1 straight through to the final for Brady. P4 not in the final for Brazil. They'll go into the place race. Blue Rising and Alula there. Well, that was a good recovery, I have to say, from Rusty Wyatt. It could have gone so much worse. They'll be in the race off, and they still have a chance to get into the final and win the overall event. Let's not forget that later on. We've got one more of these group races to come then to know for sure which 5 crews will be in the final here. Taylor has all of the latest for us, and I believe she has Emma from Brady down there, and they're happy, aren't they? It's all going very well so far. Taylor.
Emma Kimmelainen, Team Brady is on a roll here. You guys are really looking for that victory, and now you have your shot. That next race that everybody's going to be fighting their way into the final, you're already there.
Yeah, we're in the final, which is very good, but we still need to win the finals, at least the second one. So, yeah, still a long way to go.
Spirits are high. The heat is high as well. What is it like to stay in the race zone and kind of stay committed out there?
Yeah, it's very hot out here. In the boat, there is like around 75 degrees Celsius, so it's a proper Finnish sauna in there, and we have all the race kit on. So, yeah, being hydrated and cooled is the key, and then, just enjoying the time as well with the team.
We're seeing some penalties and some drama out there when it comes to starts. Your teammate played it smart. What is it like for you out there, making sure that you're staying within the rules but still pushing hard?
Yeah, it's like we need to just do what, concentrate on ourselves, do what we need to do, and then not too much think of when other ones are leaving and stuff. We need to just trust our process, and we have a process for it. So,
Team Brady's headed for the win, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's our target, always.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Taylor. So just to reiterate what that means, when Emma Kimmelainen gets back out there later, she'll be in final 1. Points will not be available there, but that will determine lane position. So if Emma's able to win final 1 later, it will put her teammate in the best starting position for when the points are available in final 2. Still a sweltering afternoon here at Lago Maggiore up in the north of Italy. We still have one more group stage race to come, and then we will know the 5 crews that are straight through into the final here at the 4th of 7 rounds so far this season in the UIM E1 World Championship presented by PIF. Your reigning champions, Brady, are through to the final. That we already know, but Brazil will be going through into the place race. Perfect vantage point there for hospitality. So here's what I was saying. Brady, our through look, as you can see for yourself, but we still have another 5 now. Rafa, Drogba, Westbrook, Miami, and the current championship leaders, Aoki Racing, who, if you're just joining us, were disqualified from their first race earlier on today because of a very rare, it has to be said, mistake from Meshael Al-Abadan, who did the short lap but then did not complete the rest of the lap. In the meantime, we've got all of the latest interviews coming our way from the launch zone, courtesy of the ever reliable Taylor Schneider.
Tom Shep, we're heading into your turn in the boat for that Group 2 race. Your teammates put you in a really, really good position. What words of advice did she have for you heading out?
Yeah, she made an incredible race. She was a tough race. She managed to. We're struggling a bit in the start, but after she recovered really well, and she managed to overtake some 2 boats and finish P1. So it's good for me to start in lane 1. I hope we will not have the same problem during the start and not struggling, and to be able to make a same race like her. So yeah.
And there's been a little bit of drama out there when it comes to long lap, short lap. Do you have any strategy that you want to share with us yet as to when you'll take either of those?
Yeah, I mean, all of the teamwork of that, we have many person behind us to take the right strategy at the right moment. Everything will depend with your start, because if you start in first, you have one strategy, you start second and third can change it. So, I mean, you have to improving and you have to trust your team behind, so we will see the race. Yeah.
And so far this season, Aoki and your team, Team Rafa, has kind of been going head-to-head. Now Danny will be starting quite a few ways away from you. Who do you think your next biggest competitor will be?
Yeah, of course, like Aoki and Team Rafa, we compete to the championship, and especially Danny and me. I think we are a big rival. Yeah, faster, I'm faster too, and sometimes we fight, and it's good fighting. It's a good competitor, he's really fast, so now I will try to beat him, yeah.
I love it. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Tom there, the Frenchman, one of the younger pilots in the whole field here. Extremely, extremely experienced and always extremely calm as well whenever we see him in interviews. And even just walking around the paddock, I walked past him earlier on this morning. Well, race birds of a different kind there, I guess Saunders. And it is a beautiful, beautiful part of the world, isn't it, here up in the north of Italy, and particularly this time of the year as well, towards the end of June. What, it's July already, isn't it, next week? Can you believe how fast the time goes? We'll be halfway through the year already. And it's a great vantage point for everybody in the launch zone with 5 minutes to go. Particularly good vantage point as well if you're moored up with your own boat here, because you're right on the front line for where the actual race birds, the mechanical race birds, not the natural ones, are lining up. Look, you can see them making their way out of the launch zone and down towards the milling area. But anyone who's got a boat there in that front line, and you can see a few umbrellas have been put up as well, they're in a perfect viewing position.
That's the life, isn't it? That's the life right there, just being able to watch this amazing racing going on your doorstep from your own boat with your own beverages and food. Lovely.
And what's going on here for Westbrook Racing, because they should be going out. You can see Guy Barron there up on the top of the boat, and they're looking down into the cockpit. Lucas Ordonez, we are on board with, had an amazing battle here yesterday in the qualifying races with Danny Kloss, but there is clearly, as you can see for yourself, a problem here, and they've not got long to get this sorted, because the clock at the bottom of the screen is counting down. Less than 4 minutes remaining to be able to get over to the milling area. We did have a couple of delays earlier on. Are we going to get another one? Are they going to be able to get out at all? Let's hope they can, because this is going to be the race that decides the second crew to go through to the final, to get that second lane. Oh no, shake of the head from Lucas.
Wheels off as well. It doesn't look like, looks a bit of a non-starter as it stands. Hopefully they're able to rectify it, but I imagine they've got a kind of a limited window that they can do this in before they ultimately just won't be able to take part in this race.
3 minutes to go, so there's 3 minutes. That's for the race start. They've got to get out to the milling area first. Surprise after surprise here then in Italy. This is incredible. It's Rafa on the inside from Drogba. Westbrook should be in the middle, but they're currently stuck in the launch zone with some sort of technical problem for Lucas Ordonez, and it's Miami and Aoki. Good news in the nicest possible way for Aoki. If Westbrook don't start, it leaves them some extra space, doesn't it, on the run to turn 1. Danny Kloss then will be lining up for Aoki Racing, and he is in lane 5. The former racing driver, he's been a Formula One test driver at points as well. They have the championship lead, but he's in the worst place to start on that outside after that mistake from his teammate earlier on. For Team Miami, of course, ahead of their home race at the end of the season, round 7 of 7. It is the Swede, the powerboat racer himself, Mr. Stark, on lane 4. The big question is, though, what's going to happen with lane 3? Lucas Ordinez here should be in that third lane, but are they going to get that problem sorted out? A former Ironman Maggiore finisher, as you can see at the bottom of your screen, but the racing driver has a real mountain to climb here at the moment. The teenager, Oban Duncan from Scotland, just 19 years of age, is our youngest pilot in the field. Excellent skier. Well, it's not quite ski weather here unless you go up to the Alps, just a short drive away. Lane 2, could they even grab the lead? But it's 22 times tennis Grand Slam winner Rafa Nadal who runs this team, and Tom Chap, the Frenchman, karting and powerboat racer, is on the inside line, lane 1, and perfectly positioned to lead on that crucial run down to turn 2.
And this is the course they'll be taking on, and we've seen they had multiple chances of getting the best of this course, and it's all about pace and strategy. Of course, having the pace to get in front of the lead, but then keeping that lead with a great strategy, using that short lap to really maximise the time you win, you gain from it, and then making sure not to lose too much time in the long lap and retaining that lead. We've seen some do it well, others not so well.
Stand by for drama then. 20 seconds to go here, and Westbrook have made it, so that's the big news, hot off the press. The last we saw of Westbrook there was that they were in the launch zone with a problem. Let's hope that problem doesn't come back to haunt them. The 10-second countdown then is underway.
Team Rafa on the inside line currently. This is the race before the race. Have they timed it well? 2 seconds, 1 second. I think they've all legally done it, but it is Team Westbrook actually. They've had a flying start into that first turn, Greg.
Well, can you believe it? Almost kept everyone waiting, but like you say, that is a great getaway. Rafa, be careful with the smart mark.
All sorts of bother there.
Oh, I thought there was going to be contact, and look, Aoki are wide on the outside. Oh, they were so fortunate to get through there without a major incident. Well, they're all over the place. What's the order? Do Rafa still have the lead? Yes, they do. Drogba second, Aoki third. Westbrook came shooting up, and Aoki now. Danny Kloss has gone up alongside Oban Duncan in that fight for second and third positions, and he is ahead.
Danny Kloss doing well as well, utilising that boost on the straight to get themselves in a little bit of clean water. Again, using it now out of the corner to try and catch up with Tom Chap in Team Rafa ahead. This is what they do. They use all of the tools they have at their disposal to work and get into good positions.
Remember, Rafa are the nearest challengers to Aoki in this championship. They were separated by, what, just 16 points coming into the weekend. It's 14 points now because Rafa got the qualifying 2 points there, and Rafa with a good advantage. Now, this is the first time we might see short or long laps taken.
Surely this is a good time to do short laps. So much clean air in front, and yes, Team Rafa going into the short lap, followed by Team Aoki as well. Both of them taking the advantage of the time gained in that short lap and coming out into the same water they went into, and not, crucially, Greg, coming out behind other pilots.
Yeah, exactly, because if Danny Kloss had carried on and done the standard lap there was every chance somebody behind him could have done the short lap, and like you say, he would have then been in their wake, and it really would have wrecked any chances of catching the Frenchman Tom Chap, who's up in the lead. So, you've seen the championship fight playing out on the water before your very eyes here. Rafa coming towards us, looking into the eyes then of the ever-focused Frenchman, and look at that, he knows what a responsibility this is with all of the team. Rafa Nadal will be watching on back home in Mallorca, and of course Chris Lazaraga, his teammate, watching on here in the launch zone. She will be out next, but where are they going to be when they get to the finals? Westbrook in the background doing their long lap.
I was wondering if this was going to happen, because really Westbrook will now come out into clear water. They won't have any weight to contend with, so this is really good use to make up from the time and the positions that they lost earlier in the race.
Yeah, and clearly the panic, if there was any for Lucas Ordinez, that problem has gone away. They did an excellent job. Hats off to everybody at Westbrook, actually, in terms of the mechanics and the team there to get that boat sorted out, and it could have been so easy to get distracted there. Okay, Rafa, when are we going to see a long lap? Do you reckon Danny Kloss will just follow Rafa and follow Tom Chap around the long lap, or might he stay out a little bit longer to disturb Tom, because if Tom goes around the long lap first and Danny doesn't, then all of a sudden Rafa will be in the wake, won't they?
It's a balance, isn't it? Because if they believe that they've got the setup and the balance to just keep good speed, and they think that they can almost do an undercut and do the long lap later and get rid of the time difference in between, then they might want to opt to do that. And neither of them have gone into it for now. Let's see what Oban Duncan and Team Drogba do. You know, also doing a normal lap. Team Westbrook have done their long lap, and now it's just Eric Stark, Team Miami. They still have to do their long lap. Maybe they can see that do that now.
Yeah, Westbrook, the red race bird, the red boat in fourth place, the only team to have done their long lap so far. You can see Miami there at the top of your screen, and they're now going around the long lap, delineated, look, by the green smart marks. They're called smart marks because they're not actually anchored to the lake bed here, so as to avoid damaging the lake bed or the seabed when we go to sea destinations. But this is actually the first fresh water round of the season, following the previous events we've already had in Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Croatia.
The Rafa team spotters got their work cut out for them now, just trying to judge the timing, the lead that Tom Chap has over Danny Kloss, because if he takes that long lap and there isn't enough time behind, Danny Kloss will sneak in front. So really it's about calling that when there is a big enough time buffer, which at the moment I think is touch and go.
Okay, well, Rafa's not done it. Look, they're going around the standard coloured red markers on the standard course. We're now looking to Aoki at the top of your screen. We've got our track map here, and I can tell you they haven't done it either. Look, we look down, perfectly demonstrated then. Drogba are third. They're yet to do a long lap. And Ordonez in fourth place have done the long lap. So I reckon Westbrook are going to jump in front here. I think Lucas Ordonez might jump in front of Oban Duncan. That's going to be extremely tight. There's Drogba's long lap, and you've got Oban Duncan in the vicinity down there as well. So yes, as I thought, Westbrook have blasted ahead, and they've already done their short laps as well. So long laps and short laps done. So that's a net change for position there. Westbrook are up into third.
Maybe too much ground to make up for Eric Stark and Team Miami, but there is still the short lap to go, so whatever gap there is currently, it's 12 seconds. Half of that will come back with the 6-second gain you get for doing the short lap.
This is the penultimate lap of the race, and we have the two leaders separated by 11 seconds or so, but that can change so quickly. It is so easy to lose a chunk of time. Are we going to see the long lap this time? No, we are not. So will Danny Kloss do the same, or will he not? He'll be monitoring the gap back to Lucas as well in third place. Now let's have a look at Danny Kloss. I'm looking at the track map. I can see him there at the top of your screen as well. The pink marks, we're on board with him now, and sure enough, as we ride on board, we are now navigating our way around the long lap area at the top of the course.
And Tom Chap now has to push and try and maximise time in this lap, knowing that he's going to have to do that long lap on the final lap and hope to not come out near Team Aoki. Team Aoki now have doing that long lap, nothing left to do, going to try and bridge that gap.
This is the final lap. Whoever wins this race is through to the final. They will have lane 2 of the final, as this is the last group stage section. Down into turn 1, you're looking at the leading boat, owned by Rafa Nadal, the tennis superstar, and it's Tom Chap, the Frenchman, at the helm. He needs to do one more long lap though. He should be okay. You lose approximately 10 or 11 seconds doing that long lap, and his current lead is 21, as you can see at the top of the screen, so he should be fine. If he gets it wrong though, Danny Kloss and Aoki will be all over them when they come through the merge zone. Yeah, he looks confident enough, doesn't he?
Looking at the timing as well, you know, faster in pretty much every sector so far, Team Rafa and Tom Chap, so I think they've done enough to keep the lead. They've really done well on those last 2 laps, pushing to make that gap as big as possible to avoid the chance of Team Aoki getting the better of them on the rejoin.
There's Miami doing their short lap, and that's going to be quite close, isn't it, to Drogba? That's even closer than we expected, and Miami have got the boost on now as well, closing right in on Drogba, and this is crucial because whoever's last in this race will go through to the place race. I hate to use the word last, but it depends on the different groups, because sometimes there's 4, sometimes there are 5 crews in each of these group races. But look at this, Rafa, they're second in the championship, and this is looking brilliant as they now confirm their position in the final here. Danny Kloss did his best, and it's a great second place, but Tom Chap comes through, and they are guaranteed to move through to the final. Now, how close are Miami to 4th place Drogba towards the rear end of this race? There's Danny Kloss in second place, and no, it's too much. Westbrook did well there to recover from whatever that technical problem was before the start. They're third, Oban Duncan is 4th, and unfortunately for Miami and Eric Stark on this occasion, they will be going into the place race. They will not go into the final.
That's the second time that Rafa are able to get themselves into the final so far this season. So the way that lines up, that they'll be now having lane 2 in that final, and it'll be actually Team Aoki that will have lane 1 in the race-off. That makes sense, yes.
Yes, so they're not straight through to the final line, but like you say, at least they've got the best position in the race-off. And incidentally, it's the first time this year that Aoki will need to go into the race-off. Prior to that, they'd always gone straight through to the finals. That's new for them. Tom, well done. I suspect you were just monitoring the strategy there, and you left that long lap quite late in the race.
Yeah. So happy about this result. All the team make incredible strategy this one. We work so hard. So yes, just one step now and we have to be focusing for the final. But let's go, baby! Vamos! Woohoo!
I don't know what you had for breakfast, Tom, but I'd like to try some. Thank you very much. Good luck for the final. Yes, he left that long lap, didn't he, till the very, very death of the race there, Saunders. It was the final lap. Perfectly executed, though.
Yeah, very, very, very well done to guarantee themselves a lane in the final. That's going to be very exciting, that first final. You know, Brady versus Rafa. That good performance from both of them. I think that first turn especially could be really interesting.
In they come. Tom, he really is as cool as a cucumber, isn't he, when you see him walking around the paddock? Yes, he knows they really did win that race.
He gets the best of both worlds. You know, he's got very experience when it comes to racing power boats, but also experience when it comes to karting. So he really does get the advantage of have that competitor awareness around you when you're battling, but also that understanding of the water and the understanding of how props and motors work in water. It's the best of both worlds, as I said.
Yeah, and even the operation of the boat as well. I mean, even karts now are so advanced. They have all sorts of different buttons on the wheels, so he's used to all of those things and overthinking what he needs to do.
Amazing. Finally, we refined the P1 during group stage. Whew. Let's go, direct to the final.
Exactly, it really takes the pressure off, doesn't it? Because if you're in the race-off, that really must be one of the most tense races to be in the whole weekend, I imagine, Saunders, because the race-off, which will be coming up next, yeah, you could end up in the final, but you could be out of the final. These guys can watch that one knowing they don't need to go into the race-off. Danny there, his team will. But, of course, your winners here, Rafa will not.
You know what it does do, though, is in terms of Aoki, it puts a lot of pressure on Alibaidan. And a lot of pressure, but a great chance of redemption from the mistake that she made earlier.
What it also does for Rafa is guarantee them now a good chunk of points, because if you get through to the final, even if you're last in the final, you would still score 15 points. So Taylor now will be chatting with Danny Kloss. It's a new challenge for him later.
Danny Kloss, what an incredible race you had out there. But I'm going to tell you, this is your first time this season, Aoki's first time going into the race-off.
I know, and I'm not happy. So, but it's what it is. Today we were starting from last, so P5 on the right side. The first corner was tremendous. I don't know what happened there, but I saw like a red race bird flying above me, and nearly like crashed. So I had to go like very, very, very wide. I was nearly going out to the wild, let's say. But gracias, Chris. But yeah, after I can make some nice moves, good overtaking. Tom, as always, he's fast. So I need to get him sooner next time. But yeah, race is okay. Now I have to work double.
Absolutely. And your teammate, Michelle, she's under quite a bit of pressure. How is she feeling going into this next one?
She's feeling good. She's feeling good. So that's the positive thing. She will do the job, and that's what we need.
All right. Well, best of luck, Team Aoki.
Thank you. Let's see.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Danny. Well, Michelle at the moment just taking in at the moment and thinking through the strategy, I would imagine they're up on the top of the boat as she was yesterday. Danny, always a smile on his face. He's got his son as well here this weekend, Danny Jr. But as Danny said, that was a ridiculously dramatic start to the proceedings. And that red projectile he described flying through the air almost over the top of him was Westbrook Racing. Saunders, it's definitely one of the more dramatic starts we have ever seen. Here we go.
It really was. It was a great start from Westbrook Racing, even just to get out onto the water with the problem that they had before. But then something happened. Bit of imbalance. Yeah, look, that's the trim, that's the foils getting caught, losing all of that grip and traction on the water. And then you've just got the evasive action by the two behind.
Danny did a really good job, didn't he, there to avoid. Now just watch this on board, just take this in. Far up on the left-hand side of the boat. It would be very, very difficult, I have to say, for one of these to go over with the falls, but even so, that would have been a very bumpy ride indeed there for Westbrook and for Lucas Ordonez. Look at that, unbelievable. That was like 45 degrees up, wasn't it, on the left-hand side there. And Danny Kloss on the pink and blue boat on the outside just had nowhere to go. Everybody just managing to get round cleanly. This is on board with Drogba, plenty of water coming in here for Oban Duncan, who was as high as second, if you remember, in the early stages of this race. Managed to keep out of that real trouble there at the first corner. Now this is on board with Westbrook as we look across at Drogba and Rafa. Hold on to your seats. Oh, what a roller coaster ride that was, and a huge moment as well for, who was that? That was Drogba as well, with the nose really high in the air.
That's got to be a self-caused problem, that, you know, because there wasn't the wake to contend with. Westbrook was in the lead at that point. I think maybe just too much of a trim change, getting that foil into the water, then just getting pulled down at the water, kind of consuming that foil, really putting it off balance, sending it all over the place.
This is Danny Kloss coming through the standard lap area. He was ahead of Westbrook at that point. He didn't take his long lap too soon, because there was the danger, wasn't there, of dropping back behind the charging Westbrook. It was obviously shadowing in many ways what Tom Chap here was doing up at the front, but Tom comes through for Rafa and wins, and they go straight through to the final, and the Frenchman was overjoyed about that as he crosses the line, fist pumps the air, just takes that little bit of pressure off, doesn't it? And that, as we've already said, will put them in lane 2 for the final coming up later on this afternoon. And it just gives them that additional confidence as well and removes a few of those doubts from their mind. Wow, we had some delays, some technical problems, almost some contact between some of the race birds there. Rafa, though, go through, and they'll be in lane 2. They're in the final. Team Miami will not make the final. They'll be in the place race. Second, third, and fourth, Aoki, Westbrook, and Drogba will be 3 of the 5 boats in the race-off that will be coming up next. Real tension now building here at Lago Maggiore. So let's head back down to the launch zone and back down there for Taylor.
Chris Lazaraga, your teammate Tom did an incredible job in that race, keeping all the competitors off of his tail. What an incredible race that was for him.
Yes, I mean, the gap with the other ones was big, and that is the result of the hard work that Tom does. He is super fast, we could see that, and above all, we are very happy with all the work that the team has been doing, and very happy because it's the first time we go straight to the final. So at least for now, we can say 10 out of 10.
Looking ahead into that final race, you do have a competitor that's kind of itching their way really close up to you, and that is Team Brady. What is the competition out there with them like?
Yes, I mean, they are the title contenders, no? We know that they are fast, so it is the main rival to battle with, so we will see what happens later.
Short lap, long lap, you had some great strategies in your run so far as to when to take those. Any insight as to where you're going to do next?
No, it's top secret, you know. That is the actual magic of E1.
All right, best of luck, Chris.
Good attempt, Taylor. Good attempt once again. Full marks for effort. Why would anybody want to give away their secrets? In fact, Saunders and I were walking around the paddock earlier on. We're trying to look at some of the props of the boats, and there's even people covering the props with plastic bags and all sorts, aren't there? Of course, they're locked in at this point anyway, but they don't want to give any secrets or data away to their rivals, do they, by revealing which prop they're using?
No, because it makes a big difference to the way that they perform on this course. You know, it's effectively top speed versus acceleration, and which one is more important here, and they have to try and balance that.
So this is what we've been talking about. We've had the group stages, and the top 2 from the group stages, as you can see, Brady and Rafa, they're lanes 1 and 2 for the first part of the final later on. The place race, we've got 2 teams currently in there. They were at the bottom of the group stages you've just seen. All of the rest, 5 of them, including the championship leaders Aoki, are going through the race-off. The top 3 in the race-off will join Rafa and Brady in the finals, and the other 2 will be in the place race. It is all to play for here, with every chance of the championship lead decreasing here at Lago Maggiore. So a quick pause before we are back for the all-important finals, preceded by the race-off, to see how close this will be when we head to Monte Carlo next time out. A quick pause for us, and then we'll be back in action here with E1 in Italy.